Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Golden Astrologer Podcast. This is Deb McBride, and I am broadcasting from lovely Escazú, Costa Rica on Sunday, the 17th of October, 2021, and it is pouring here in Escazú, and it is pouring for hours, and this is like the rainiest month, really, although we did have some beautiful days this week, but the rain is coming down hard right now, and it was sunny and beautiful this morning, and then sunny and beautiful for a little while this afternoon, and then it just continued to rain. So, my garden will look beautiful, the rainforest will be lush, and that's what we have to be grateful for, because, without this, it'll get very dry. So, anyway, here we are. We are at the 17th of October, the moment we have been waiting for, the Rocktober moment, when the last two planets go direct from retrograde, only within hours of each other. And so these are the stories of the week, okay? The big stories. And the stories are Jupiter goes direct. Well, you know what? In my region of the world, it's 11:30 tonight. If you are in the Eastern time zone, it's 1:30 a.m. If you are in the Pacific time zone, it is 10:30 p.m. If you're in Australia, you know what time it is, and et cetera, et cetera. And tomorrow, Mercury goes direct, which I'm sure everybody's happy about. Mercury goes direct 11:17 a.m. Eastern time, which means it's 9:17 a.m. on tomorrow morning in Escazú. And thank heavens, because that means I won't have too much of tomorrow without Mercury being direct. So it's an amazing thing. We got through this month, and it has been unprecedented. I have to say, people are telling me how exhausted they are. I was exhausted, as you know, as I've told you. This is a big turnaround. This is a big turnaround. I saw my shaman on Wednesday. Thank God. Thank you, dear Bear Claw, because he was amazing, and I had a really good session, and my energy is restored, because he said he could feel that I was depleted. And so if you're feeling depleted, I suggest you go connect with your favorite healer and go do something, because even though I did things like take naps and rest, and my spirit was depleted, my energy, my physical body was depleted, but my spirit was depleted as well. So whoosh, it's been quite a month, and it's only the 17th. So the dust will settle in the coming days. Jupiter is going direct after 4 months of retrograde, and I think it went retrograde in June, and now Mercury after 3 weeks. But this has been a whopper of a Mercury retrograde, because Mercury has been involved with these other retrogrades. It was stationing direct, during this time that Jupiter is going direct. And last weekend, it's like every week there was somebody. There was either Pluto or there was Saturn last weekend. And, we had, Saturn last Sunday. And I definitely felt the energies each and every time. I felt a transformative breakthrough when Pluto went direct on the 6th with that new moon. That was powerful. However, it did feel like I had to assimilate the energies of a direct Pluto, returning from the underworld. Then when Saturn went direct, it felt really good initially. I was like, good, Saturn's direct. And then like the next day, I definitely felt and heard from people, who were worried about, certain laws and rules and restrictions and their life and what people are saying and authority figures. And I was like, that just, like, my energy just went whoosh, sailing right out of me again on Monday. So even though Sunday night when Saturn went direct, I felt better and good and like, yeah, this is good. We're moving forward now. People were, worrisome on Monday, and I had to calm people down. And, I was, mostly friends here in Costa Rica, but, I had to calm a friend down. In any case, but things are moving forward. I definitely felt the shift of energy when the moon went into Aquarius the other day, and I talked about it on my Instagram, how the moon was shifting from Saturn to Jupiter, because Saturn is earlier in Aquarius and Jupiter is later. Jupiter is at 22 degrees. And so this is good because it gave us this transition. And I think it's amazing that the moon was in Aquarius those couple of days, Thursday, Friday, because last week, a week ago when we were here, the last time we met, Saturn was turning direct. This week, we're talking, and Jupiter's turning direct. And I feel like the moon escorted us away from Saturn and towards Jupiter. And that's when I really felt the energy starting to shift and it was, it took a few days this week. And, I had a real sense of the moon passing over Saturn and then being in between the two planets of Saturn and Jupiter and then passing over Jupiter. And today it went over Neptune. So because it was in Pisces. But this has been a real shift, challenge moment. Can you keep up with it? That's the question. So, Rocktober, here we are. And so, what does it mean when Jupiter goes direct? It means that the energies that we experience that are Jupiterian, which is expansion, travel, abundance, opportunity, optimism, philosophy, beliefs, those things start to move forward. It means that the things that we believe in, or if we believe in some universal force or something, a higher power, remember Jupiter in mythology is Zeus, and so he was like the god of gods. And so if you believe in something, maybe your faith will be restored by something now. I'm glad Jupiter went direct after Saturn, because Saturn is where our faith gets tested and we feel insecure and all our insecurities come up. But as we move through Aquarius and we get to this Jupiterian moment, I have to say this is a really positive experience. Now, I have had experiences where Jupiter goes direct, and it was the end of a story too. And that means that Jupiter going direct is a recurrence for me. And it was the beginning of a new story, but the end of an old story, or the end of the line, for something. And I was reminded of that the other day. One of my friends contacted me, and it had to do, I'll just say it, my late partner passed away on the station of Jupiter 11 years ago. So he died when Jupiter was going direct. And my friend one of our friends contacted me the other day, and he's like, I miss him so much. And I said, oh, it's the station of Jupiter. Like, why all of a sudden this time, after 11 years, does our friend miss my late partner? I miss him so much. And I thought, wow, oh, it's Jupiter. That's right. So, while it was good for him to pass because he was in pain, it was bad for us, those left on Earth. And that's a very Jupiterian thing. And because Jupiter is a journey, and, our friend and me and other people who loved my partner, we had to go on a different journey than John did. John passed, and that's a big journey. Passing from this earth to another world is a very long journey. I have had other friends who passed away, like Jupiter went over a friend's moon and she passed away. And so Jupiter is the expansive. It's being released into the ethers in some ways. Jupiter used to rule Pisces before Neptune was discovered. And so there's that nether region, the spirit realm of Pisces. And the moon is in Pisces today. So I think it's interesting that Jupiter is going direct just as the moon is in Pisces. And that is a very profound thing. It's like, there's a certain amount of surrender in Pisces. And so here we are surrendering to this big Jupiterian force, this energy. Jupiter's bigger, the big planet. It's the protective planet. But, it was going to be okay in the end. It was better for a person to pass who was not happy on Earth or is not feeling well on Earth, who, my partner was very sick, and so was my friend that passed. So when Jupiter touched them, it was by grace, and my partner had a lot of grace in his passing because Venus was going direct at the same time. So, and there you have it. But we've got Mercury going direct, and I bet everybody's happy about that. Now, Mercury is opposite Chiron, and Chiron is the wounded healer. And so Mercury opposite Chiron is, you got to go back to like September 8th, which is the last time they opposed each other, and what was going on in your life then. And I remembered what was going on in my life at that point, and I had a little reminder of it today, and it was fine, it was good, it was all good, and but Mercury and Chiron are opposing each other, and it's like, I woke up this morning, and one of the first thoughts I had in my head was like, wow, I feel really confused. I don't normally wake up like that. Thank God it was a Sunday. And I just thought, wow, I'm really confused. And I felt confused for part of the morning. And I'm like, what do I want for breakfast? Oh, yeah, breakfast. Yeah, how do I make breakfast? What do I have to do? Yeah, breakfast. Okay, wow. And that was absolutely, positively a moment, when I thought, okay, I have to get a grip here. And I knew it was Mercury. Even though I still had another 24 hours before Mercury was going direct. It's stopping in the sky. It's opposite Chiron. And, there are certain wounds we talk about and certain things that, we needed to express. Mercury's in an air sign, So confusion, yeah, the brain. Air signs are working with the brain. It's not your feelings. It's how your mind is working. And I just was like, okay, forget it today. Just, it's Sunday and we rest today and we take some rest and we take some time. And of course I did things, but just do something, that sort of restores your brain rather than works it too hard, Yeah, I know the New York Times crossword puzzle comes out on Sunday and the big one on Sunday, and people like to talk about working the brain. Yeah. Anyway, for those of you who do that puzzle. Anyway, so now we are moving forward. We're going to be moving forward in the next 24 hours or 12 hours actually, and it should be a really positive experience as everything moves forward. And again, these are the last two planets. That means the planet of abundance and the planet of thoughts and intellect and articulation are moving forward. And they are, still we can get information revealed to us as they move forward. We can make connections that we didn't make before as things move forward. We might hear from people we haven't heard from in a long time as things move forward. And the dust is going to settle. Mercury, it's not like Mercury goes forward. It's like, okay, back to normal. I still recommend giving it a breather before you announce something new, start something new. Just take a breath and cross your T's and dot your I's and reread the script and make sure everything is correct and there's no typos and things that are complicated. Just take a breath and allow this Mercury retrograde to settle a little bit and then, move forward. Mercury had squared Pluto twice in the initial stages of its retrograde. It will square Pluto again, but not until early November, okay? So we don't have to worry about that just yet. It will be November 2nd. And so one of the things that's we go back to revisit is Mercury going retrograde and what was going on at the time. Look back in your journal. How were you feeling around, the 25th or so, 20th of September when Mercury was getting ready to, it squared Pluto and then it moved away and then it came back and squared Pluto again. And, how was that feeling? What was that like? What kind of information did you get? And what kind of experience did you have? That Mercury square Pluto on November 2nd will sort of finish that story, thankfully. So that's good news. And so we move forward. We start to move forward, and it's been, an interesting experience. Look, you know, I can't say that this is, we're going to just feel better tomorrow. We may feel, I usually get I feel a breath of relief when these things move forward. And then, by the end of the month, by the end of the week, the end of the month, I mean, the month is only another 2 weeks. Here we go again. Where has October gone? As it moves, as everything moves forward, then we can start to get back into the swing of things. Then everything will really start taking off and, taking its place. And then we start to clear our heads. And, this is a month to be remembered. I learned a whole lot this month. I learned a lot about myself. I am definitely feeling better than I was, but it has been a depleting month for many people, and I highly recommend that if you do feel depleted, that you like I said earlier, go to see your favorite healer. Maybe you could take a couple days off, take a long nap, go get some healing, go do something that's going to restore your body and restore your spirit, because it's really important after all this. And this is another layer that comes forward. So, I learned things when Pluto went direct. I learned things when Saturn went direct. I'm sure I'll learn things as Jupiter goes direct and Mercury goes direct. And they were big stories. They weren't, they were some things in my life that related to big stories or things in my life that were experiences and things posing questions for me that I need to answer. Now, if you have questions that you need to answer, well, then you have to think about those after tomorrow, okay? I have had things come up that I really questioned in these last few days, and I said, you know what? I can't do this right now. I can't. I sound like my New Jersey self. I cannot address these things before Mercury goes direct. I have to really sit with them when Mercury moves forward. But thank you, universe, for bringing them to my attention while Mercury was retrograde. There's things, and there are things that I don't want to make decisions about, and they might involve decisions of that may cause me to have to shift things that I didn't plan on shifting. So, anyway, they're not huge things. They're just things. And so we move forward. Now, there is, on another note, a full moon this week. So 2 weeks ago, when Pluto went direct, we had a new moon in Libra. And now we are going to be, this is a big week of shifts, okay? So we've got the direct planets. We've got the full moon on Wednesday, which is the Hunter's moon, and it's in Aries, and it's at 27 degrees Aries. So we are leaving. Aries is opposite Libra. We have the sun in Libra, therefore the moon, when it's full, will be in Aries. So that's the last couple of days before Libra ends and Scorpio begins. And so we're having a full moon. So what's an Aries full moon? Aries is full of energy and assertiveness and, a feeling of being powerful and making decisions and being a bit of a warrior. Well, the moon is going to square Pluto before it actually becomes full. So it becomes full, about 9 a.m. my time, which is 11 a.m. Eastern time. And it becomes full, but before that, in the wee hours of the night in this region of the world, the moon will square Pluto. So on its way to becoming full, the moon is going to square Pluto. So Pluto's involved in this full moon. And Pluto's at 24, Capricorn, and then the sun and the moon are going to be at 27. So there's, what we're having today is a sun square Pluto. And that's intense. The sun squares Pluto only twice a year. It's an opening square, closing square. But the sun already squared Pluto, and then the moon will square Pluto when we have this full moon on Wednesday. But it'll be the middle of the night. in this region of the world. So, as it's becoming full. So there may be some intense emotions associated with this full moon. And so we have to think about that. Like, what is this all about? We are gathering this energy, this full moon energy. The moon is swelling and it's getting big and it's rising, and we can already see it. And well, I can't see in the sky; it's pouring rain, right? So it's building up to this fullness. So this is very powerful. It's a powerful full moon because it's going to be squaring Pluto. So intensity. Okay, so that's another thing that's happening. So we got three things: Jupiter direct, Mercury direct, and a full moon that's squaring Pluto. So this is powerful. Okay. And you're like, Deb, is it ever going to stop? When is it going to be calm? I always used to have people asking me that. When is it going to get better? That's what people would say. When is it going to get better? Well, define better. What is better? It's going to get more intense. It's going to get less intense. It's going to, there's crescendos, there's ups, there's downs, there's cycles, there's full moons, there's new moons. It's life, it's life. And, I follow and I study German New Medicine. So it's always about conflict and resolution. You go into conflict, you go into resolution, you go into healing, and it's like my cousin said to me a couple of years ago. She said, I'm always in conflict and resolution. I said, that's the point. We're always in conflict and resolution. Day after day, it's conflict and resolution. And some of those are bigger than others. And that's why, to me, German New Medicine makes so much sense. But, conflict and resolution. So when is it going to get better? That's up to you. And it's up to your perspective. And do you feel that it's going to get better? Or do you want it to get better? Well, then it's going to be good for you. Great. Change your perspective. Change how you look at things. Change the way you see things. Okay? So one of the things that I have to say, and I've been thinking a lot about, is that, Aries is this full moon. So that's, Aries is the warrior. And Aries, the signature words for Aries are I am. Whereas, Taurus is I have, and Gemini is I think, and stuff. So, Aquarius is I know, Pisces is I believe. Okay. Or I sense, I don't know. But I know Aquarius is I know. I know. But what's really important is that I am it's identity, right? It's the identity. It's the experience of self. I am. Chiron is in Aries. It's not part of this full moon, but it is part of the Mercury station forward. And so Mercury rules the North Node in Gemini right now. Chiron is in Aries, which is about I am. Mercury is about I think. Libra is about I balance. So balancing your thoughts is really important. Balancing I am and the other person you are. I am, Aries is I. Libra is you, the person across the table. And so while Mercury is opposing Chiron, the sun is going to be opposing the moon. And there's a lot of, identification. Aries is about who, it's I am. It's the identity. And what I find also is, in astrology, we say things like, oh yeah, I'm an Aquarius, I say. But really, what I should say, and I'm not judging myself, but it would be more appropriate to say, I have the sun in Aquarius. My sun sign is Aquarius. Because once we start to say I am, like I say, for shorthand, I say things like, oh yeah, I'm a Venus Pluto. And to the uninitiated, it's like, oh, you're a what? To those who know astrology, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm a Venus Pluto. I'm a Sun Mars. So I'm revealing to all of you my chart, right? I'm a Sun Mars. But I have the Sun and Mars conjunct. I have Venus and Pluto in opposition. But for shorthand to other astrologers, we talk to each other this way. Well, since you're a Sun Mars, Deb, blah, blah, blah. And it's shorthand, and astrologers speak their own astrospeak, their own language. But what I realize is we're putting labels on each other. We're putting labels on ourselves and each other. I'm an Aquarius. Oh, well, you know me. I'm an Aquarius. So, I blah, blah, blah because I'm an Aquarius. Or because I'm a Venus Pluto, blah, blah, blah. And I'm a Sun Mars, so I'm going to do this. As opposed to, and it puts people in categories and puts labels on people. So I'm going to try to watch my language more and say, and people say, oh, you're an Aquarius. Yeah, I'm an Aquarius. I have the sun in Aquarius. Because for a couple of reasons. First of all, I have had many people come to me and say, so what's my sun in? And I'm like, well, your sun is your sign. And people say, oh, really? Yeah, your sun is your sign. Like, if your sun is in Capricorn, your sun sign is Capricorn. Your birthday, you say, I'm a Capricorn. That means your sun is in Capricorn. My birthday, my sun is in Aquarius. I'm an Aquarius. Your sun is your sign. And labels can join or divide. And here we are in division with the sun and the moon in opposition, Mercury and Chiron in opposition. There's a lot of I am in Chiron. There's a lot of I am in the moon. We need to watch out for the labels because my late partner, who I mentioned before, did not like labels. People shouldn't identify with, and he named things like Democrat, Republican. He was from England, so he would say the Liberal Democrats. That's what they had over there, the Liberal Democrats. Now here that sounds, well, here and not here, but in the United States that sounds like a redundancy, right? The Liberal Democrats. Back in the time of, last week I mentioned Hamilton, back in the time of the Revolution, and after the Revolution there were the Democratic Republicans. Well, that to us doesn't make sense anymore, right? Because those are two different parties. But history has its way of changing things. Okay, so, but there's lots of labels, and politics is one of them. Astrology is others. We pick labels all the time. There's lots and lots of labels, and it makes us call each other things, and it puts the division deeper in our consciousness. So my advice is stop the labels, okay? You associate or you're comfortable with these political standards. You probably don't agree with everything. Maybe you like a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I'm an independent. Yeah. Well, Aquarius is independent. So I think, as I said last week, the country is very divided in the United States. There's lots of divisions everywhere. There's divisions all over the world right now because people are labeling each other. Stop the labeling, okay? In this moment of I am, with Chiron and Aries opposite Mercury, which is stopping in the sky. In this moment of I am with the sun and the moon opposite each other, the moon in Aries, okay, this Wednesday. Think about what you are labeling yourself as or how you have labeled others, and try to stop doing that. There will be less divisions when you do that. Okay? So that's really important. That's my sermon for the week. All right. In the meantime, Mars is going to trine Jupiter tomorrow. Yeah. Good job. Mars in Libra, trining Jupiter. Lots of energy. As Jupiter goes direct, Mars is making a happy aspect to it. This is great. This is like get up and go. Hopefully you don't wake up confused because Mercury is stationing direct. In the meantime, Mars is then going to square Pluto on Thursday. So Mars is busy. Mars is busy, okay? Mars is like making that trine and then, squaring that Pluto. So, again, divisions, hard angles. Mars and Pluto. Seething energy. Seething. Okay. Mars is in Libra, though. So Mars might seethe and not necessarily do anything about it because it's too polite, or it doesn't want to be polite in Libra, but it really needs to kind of hold its tongue a little bit. And then the sun goes into Scorpio on Friday night, this region of the world, shortly before midnight my time, and it'll be on Saturday morning elsewhere. Shortly before midnight. Yeah, like an hour before midnight. Early Saturday morning in other regions, like, the East Coast. So there we are. The sun changes signs this week. So we've got Jupiter going direct. We have Mercury going direct. We have full moon. We have the sun changing signs. We have Mars very busy, speaking sweetly to Jupiter, and then having a duel with Pluto on Thursday. But Mars and Pluto are buddies. So, it's intense energy. It's passion. It's warrior energy. But try to be, it's a polite warrior. Mars is in Libra. So this is very, very powerful energy shifting this week. Now, next week at the end of the month, the end of the week and the end of the month, Mars is going to leave Libra and go into Scorpio and be a whole lot happier there because Mars likes Scorpio. It is the traditional ruler of Scorpio. So Pluto and Mars are going to have a little powwow this week, and then Mars is going to say, okay, I'm going to take this information and go into your sign, Pluto, our sign, and later, the week after, there will be that shift of Mars into Scorpio. So we still have Mercury in Libra. We still have the sun in Libra. We still have Mars in Libra this week until Friday when the sun leaves and goes to Scorpio. And so things get more passionate, more intense, more powerful. And so I expect at the end of the week or the middle, so the first half of the week is about like the direct stations, about the Jupiter and about the Mercury, and everybody's moving forward, and Mars is trining Jupiter, and then somewhere around Wednesday we start to get intense because the full moon squares Pluto, and then Mars is going to square Pluto the next day, and then the day after that the sun goes into Scorpio. So things get deep and robust and lusty and juicy and scorpionic and Plutonian, and that's when people up north really start feeling that October vibe, that deep autumn juicy vibe, okay? When the days get shorter and the crispness is in the air and the leaves are turning colors, and it's kind of sexy, right? Right. So think sexy, not in power struggles, okay? Mars Pluto can be a bit of a power struggle. Please, please, please try to be gentle with one another this week. Think of how happy it is that Jupiter's going direct. Think that we are happy Mercury's going direct. Take that nice energy through the week, and remember, this is one of the things Joe Dispenza says, when you get up from your meditation, that peace you knew in your meditation, you want to take it through your day. So that peace you may know from Mars trining Jupiter and Jupiter going direct and Mercury going direct are things we want to take into the rest of the week when things get a little hotter, okay? Turn those things into creativity and passionate ideals, okay? That's what we want to do this week. We want to turn those Plutonian energies into something passionate and creative, okay, and sensual, whatever that means for you in your life, as opposed to combative. The moon is in Aries. It's ruled by Mars. Mars is going to be getting ready to square Pluto. The moon is squaring Pluto. This is a big deal. This is intense. Okay? So try to not let things get to you. Don't get obsessed. Don't get too aggravated. Just go with it. Turn things around. Mercury's going direct. Hallelujah. We're going to be able to communicate clearly again. Okay? Okay. And boy, that half hour went fast. So, good news. Rocktober continues. I mean, Mercury and Jupiter going direct is going to really help things. So this is going to be very, very, very interesting because this is it. All four planets will now be direct. And then we get a whole lot of Pluto and Scorpio this week. So we're going to be diving deep into the underworld and into the they always say the lusty month of May from Camelot, right? So this is now the lusty part of October as we go into the deep, powerful, juicy areas of the zodiac. Okay, so I bid you a lovely, gorgeous, beautiful week and happy station directs of Jupiter and Mercury, and wonderful thoughts keep your energies and your emotions elevated. Keep yourself positive. Do not get dragged into any warrior battles with Aries and Mars and stuff like that, okay? So I have great gratitude and thanks to all of you for listening. If you'd like to reach me and have a session, go to my website, thegoldenastrologer.com, click on Book Online. If you want to just watch some more of my chit-chat on Instagram, you can go to my Instagram, The Golden Astrologer, and you'll see some videos of what I have to say about things, and I'll have a lot to say this coming week. If you want to hear more, just tune into the podcast every week. And my Twitter is @DebAstrology. Facebook is The Golden Astrologer. And I will be in this seat next Sunday night for us to have another lovely discussion. So I bid you a lovely week. And remember, take care of yourself. Get your energy back. Feel good about yourself and going forward. Thank you for listening. Much gratitude.